Hello world, I am Curtis Simpson, and this is Jectives Typography News number 38. Today is Wednesday, March 11th, 2026, and I apologize for being a few minutes late for anyone here that was on time, but if it's cutting close to the hour, I will just go a little bit over so we can get things finished up. Like I said on the last episode, there are plenty of stories to be able to do this 3 times a week, but I am just one man, and getting it physically done is going to take a little bit of work. So bear with me through this, through these growing pains. Got some good stories for you today. New book released. We got an event coming up on Friday. There was a way to get 4 free fonts from just signing up for a newsletter. I know there are a lot of free fonts out there, but this one might be worth it. I have 3 new releases that I'm just going to put on your radar. We'll look at those real quick. I have one deep dive from someone we've reported on multiple times on this channel. James Plattner put out a very nice release. It's available on Future Fonts. We'll get to that in a second. Then I've got a preview that I'm not sure if I'm allowed to show you, but there's a beta version of a font from Grilly Type that's going to be coming out soon. I'm going to give you just a tiniest sneak peek, and then I'll find out if I was actually allowed to show you or not. I think it'll be fine. We have another video from Harbor Bickmore I want to put on your radar, and then just a couple of fun things at the end. There's a variable clock. They're using, FontBob is using variable fonts in a really unique way. So I'm interested to show that to you and to learn more about it in the future. And then lastly, I have these 2. Can you see them on the camera? There they are. These 2 mystery envelopes that I'm not quite sure what's in them or where they came from. I talked to a lot of foundries and publications and stuff, and I sometimes get things in the mail. One says it's from Geneva, so that must be Switzerland. The other has like a Manchester stamp on it, and it's got the king's head, so I'm pretty sure that that's coming from the UK. I'll get to those at the end because you know, why start the show with something so silly? Maybe it won't be silly though. Maybe it'll be amazing. I think that it'll be good. What am I trying to say here? It's less important than the real news. So first things first, let me go ahead and get my face off the camera. Well, I will keep my face on the camera, but we will get another window up here, and I will get the first story on the screen before I am. Okay. So, I apologize. I'm sorry. Screen cap. Here we go. And I just doxed myself. That's beautiful. So, this is a new release from Elliot J. Stocks. Let me see if I can get my face cam on there. Dang it. Growing pains, growing pain, growing pains. Here we go. This is a new release from Elliot J. Stocks. It is releasing yesterday. It released yesterday. You've probably seen this about 100 times. He's been doing a lot of promotion for this. I have not read this. I don't have my hands on this. It takes a long time to ship books to Brazil, and they cost twice as much because you get hit with an import fee, the shipping, and all that stuff. So even on the best day, if a book costs $30, you're probably paying $60, if not more, for it. So I do not have this book that came out yesterday, but I was just going to flip through a couple of the previews here on Amazon and give you an idea of what it is. It's basically a book with with a bunch of specimens from a curated list of type foundries. It's also got essays in it. You can see here there's one essay by Ellen Lupton. But you can see, yeah, it's a lot of type specimens. It's called Fine Specimens. It's by Elliot J. Stocks, and it released yesterday. I do know he's going on like a world tour. I think he's stopping at between 5 and 10 places. I'm not sure on the exact number of those, but he's doing pop-ups in bookstores and stuff like that. And it looks pretty cool. So I do have this link in the description. Those are affiliate links. They're not sponsored. I don't know Elliot. I don't have I'm not sponsored. This isn't a sponsored post at all, but I am part of the affiliate program for Amazon as well as bookshop.org. So these are both linked in the description if you want to check those out there. If not, just go find Elliot on literally any social media. because he's everywhere right now promoting this. So it seems cool. I like Specimens. We look at Specimens on here every single episode. So I think that it might be worth your time. Next up is an upcoming event. This one is being put on by Type Directors Club. I'm just on my webpage right here because it's the easiest way for me to like look through these real quick and see what events are coming up. This one is paid and it's in New York City, so I don't know that it's going to be super accessible for a lot of people, but if you're in New York on Friday, you probably already are going to be aware of this, but if not, it is Type Drives Commerce by Type Directors Club, TDC. Little confusing for a little bit of a confusing choice in my opinion in terms of the abbreviation, but I guess that's what they're going for. And you can see that it is a curated list of keynotes and panel discussions designed to engage a broad range of players, blah, blah, blah. I do have a list of, if we go back to this here, here's a list of speakers. Let's go ahead and zoom in on this. List of speakers that are going to be there, and you'll probably recognize some of those names. Moving on. Our third story today is the free fonts that I talked about. So freshfonts.io. I am a little bit confused about what this website is becoming because it used to be like a monthly newsletter and you could pay, I think it was $20 a month, and they would send you free fonts every month. You didn't get to pick them. They would commission them from Foundries and then they would just send them to you every month. Now it says new fresh type Foundry coming soon. So I talked to Nomi today because I wanted to make sure that if I told you guys to sign up for this, that you'd actually get the fonts as well. But yeah, recently she sent out an email. Fresh Fonts sent out an email, and I'm going to show you the 4 fonts that you can get for free if you sign up for this. You will get them, and I have the licenses labeled on here. So I'm going to take my face off the screen so I don't block anything, but I will be back in a little while. So these first 4 fonts are not new releases, but they are free if you sign up for that newsletter on freshfonts.io. She also told me that if you sign up for this prior to the new Foundry website launching, you will get an exclusive new release. I think it's a new release, an exclusive new release that you basically can only get if you're signed up before the Foundry website launches. So go ahead and sign up now. Get these these 4 typefaces for free. And then there will be one more exclusive coming. So I'm going to go run through these pretty quick. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on them. This one was commissioned for the city of Stassburg. I'm not sure how to say that exactly. 728 glyphs, 223 open type features. And you can see this is pretty unique. It's pretty, it's a display face. It's slab serif. It's got some pretty sharp angles on it. It's got some unique things going on. I'm not sure that I've ever seen these italicized slab serifs on a T like that. There's some funky things going on, but it's kind of fun. You can see the old style numbers there. Let's go ahead and see if this one has other weights. I'm not sure if it does. Oh, it looks like, what's going on here? Yeah, so there's regular, italic. Ooh, that's kind of nice. And bold. Let's set all of these, make sure these are all, okay. So all of these now are regular. And then we've got italic. Let's go ahead and zoom in on these for italic. I didn't look at these. Like I said, it is very tough to get through all of the news that there is to get through in less than 48 hours. There's a lot of news out there. It's just difficult to get through all of it. Look at that ampersand. That's pretty interesting. Yeah, I really like the italic on this. This is definitely worth signing up for the newsletter alone, in my opinion. This one has a Creative Commons license, so you can pretty much use this for whatever you want to. The bold is extra characterful, let's say that. Yeah, these don't feel, I mean, they feel like they're the same font family, but man, these are so different. The regular, italic, and the bold. That's really interesting. So that is Azimut, I think, and it was designed for the city of Stassburg. The next one is Foss Serif. This one is a little bit less in terms of what you're actually getting. 148 glyphs, just 3 open type features on this one. But you can see what it is. Nice serif typeface. I wouldn't call this a workhorse. You know, it's got workhorse aesthetics, but I wouldn't call this a workhorse just because the glyph count's not there. But this one is have commercial license written up there, so you can use this for commercial purposes. You know, it's got some calligraphic touches to it and things like that. It's more of an old style serif, but it looks nice. It's just there's not a ton to it. Rogue Wave Creative says, "Hey sir, great seeing you. Great seeing you in chat as well, Rogue Wave." If you missed it on the last episode, I'm going to be going 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. No more Sunday streams. And it's just going to be an hour long for each day, but we'll get 3 hours in a week rather than 90 minutes. And hopefully everyone can adjust, especially to the growing pains of getting all this done. This one here I think is pretty big. Pizza Typefaces, you may have heard of this Foundry. They have a typeface I thought that I was already familiar with, and it's called Gangsta. But the font that you get if you sign up is Gangster Grotesque. As you can see, these are pretty similar in aesthetic and in like their composition and stuff like that, but they're actually, they are different fonts. Like if you look at them for more than 1 or 2 seconds, you'll note that the G is different. You'll note that like if we actually went through all of the letters right now, you'll be able to see like the A's have tails on them, whereas the A in this one here is just straight down. So Gangster Grotesque, it's a kind of a high contrast, I guess you would say, serif type or sans serif typeface. Not super high contrast, but it feels like it's got the contrast that a serif typeface would have. Again, this one kind of feels pretty calligraphic, even though it's a grotesque, just because of that, the contrast that's in there. Typically, grotesque has very little contrast, grotesque, neo-grotesque. So it's interesting to see that here. You can see there's a little bit more there's a little more contrast in this one. This one probably could be a workhorse typeface for you. We've just got 3 weights here. So maybe without the italic, it would be pretty difficult to actually make this a workhorse. I feel like italic is mandatory if you're going to use it for a brand or any body copy at all. You can get away with the logo, but not body copy for sure. But 662 glyphs and 16 open type features on that one. There's Gangsta. That is not included, but that is also by Pizza Typefaces. And it was actually one of the typefaces that was released through freshfonts.io prior to whatever this transition is that they're going on right now. The last of these is called Off-Grid Sans. This one's got a SIL open font license on it, so you can do pretty much anything you want with this. Why does this have a SIL open font license? Because it's based on Enter. So if it looked familiar, it is. I'm going to compare the two here in a second, but I want to give you a glyph count and feature count on both of these because I'm not sure, you know, maybe you're just like, I don't need that much and I like the aesthetics of Off-Grid better, but the Off-Grid's going to have 354 glyphs, 11 open type features, whereas Enter is going to hit you with 2,937 glyphs, 43 open type features. Probably anyone who's watching Typography News is familiar with Enter, or you've at least come across this. It is the behemoth in the SIL open font arena. But these are the two compared. You can see they're not, you know, it has been adjusted or has been altered to some degree, but it does feel very similar. I guess we could point out the Q's here real quick. The Q up here is quite different. The R's got the more Swiss R, but this might have even an alternate for it. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's been a while since I've gone through Enter. It's so prevalent that you kind of start to ignore it after it's like Helvetica. It's just there, you know. So those are the 4 typefaces that you can get for free if you sign up for freshfonts.io. Doesn't cost anything. I'm not sure what the plan is. I did email back this morning and see, I did email back this morning. I'm trying to grab my face right now. There we go. Make sure that it's in the corner. I did email her back this morning to see if, see like what the real story is behind this. But I will have more news for you when it gets closer to the Foundry launching. Just know that if you sign up before the Foundry launches, you'll be getting an exclusive typeface that you can only get if you're signed up before the launch. Okay, I'm not a fan of the FOMO stuff, but I'm reporting it as it is. That's the way that it's going to work. Another free font that you can get is from Brandon Nickerson. Going a little bit out of order from the links in the description, as usual, per usual. Every story that I'm talking about is linked in the description. Nothing is sponsored. The book link for Elliot's book is affiliate link though. But this one here is another free font that you can get until Brandon Nickerson releases his next typeface. I did download this, so I'm going to give you, I'll pull this up in Affinity in just a second or two. But I wanted to show you his specimen so you can get a nice objective look at what this is. It's like a bold display typeface. Many of his releases are. And if you were here last week, you probably heard me talk about Instagram type designers. This isn't taking anything away from Brandon Nickerson. He produces a ton of typefaces, but compared to like real workhorse typefaces, which is not what these are display typefaces, they're going to be very pared down compared to what you're getting in maybe from some bigger type foundries or some people that are more focused entirely on type design. I think he is very much focused on putting out typefaces so that he can display and so he can design typefaces and have fun with it and stuff. But I think that his goal, this is my subjective hypothesis, I think his goal is more so to get clients to do word marks and things like that, because you do see him publish those at the end of each year. 177 glyphs on this, 2 open type features. There is one interesting thing about this one. It's got a little bit more than meets the eye, and that is there are a lot of alternates on this one. I didn't have time to go through and like pick each one, but this is one of the things that I'm talking about where I'm not sure how well you'll be able to see it. But over here on the left, a lot of times when you're looking through a typeface, let's just go ahead and grab Enter up here. You can see this is the typography panel in Affinity, and it gives you all of the alternates and stuff over here, and it'll tell you what they do: stylistic set, open digits, disambiguous, round quotes and commas. The list goes on. When you're on a typeface like this from Brandon Nickerson, you've got all alternates. You can turn all of them on or all of them off. You don't really know what's going to happen. You just kind of have to look and guess at what's going on. I think I know in Adobe, I used to work in Creative Cloud a lot. When you highlight a character, it'll show you all of the open type features, or not all the open type features. It'll show you all the alternates that you can swap it out for. That's kind of convenient, but you're still just kind of guessing what's going to happen. I love the typography panel in Affinity when designers actually use it. But you can see there are some alternates here. You could go into the glyph panel here and kind of scroll down, and you can see some of the alternates and stuff here. This is one of those typefaces that like you really have to have the right project for it, because it is very characterful, it's very distinctive, and it's just probably not going to work in 99% of your projects. But it's free right now on Brandon Nickerson. No, I apologize. bnix.com. But Brandon Nickerson's website right here. And he puts out a lot of good typefaces. Subscribe to his newsletter because you'll be able to get all of the new releases for free. And you never know, there might be that one perfect project to use it on. Next up, let me get a drink. I'm going to put another quick font on your radar. I went into that one a little more in depth than I intended to. I'm going to go quickly through these next two. This one is from SilverStag Type Foundry, SLTF. He's got it abbreviated as. That never made sense to me, but SilverStag Type Foundry. This one is called, I think it's called Arcilla. I might be mispronouncing that. But you could see he does a lot of editorial display typefaces and things like that. I have not tested this, so I can't tell you anything about it. He doesn't do free trials. I have requested review license before, but I don't think that this is one that I need to request necessarily. If you guys really want me to, I'll reach out and see. But I think a lot of times you understand what you're getting from a SilverStag typeface. It's going to have a ton of ligatures and things like that, and it's going to be a display typeface. And you get what you get. The one thing I thought was kind of strange about this, these specimens are great. He always does great specimens. This one appears to have a lot of alternates and things like that. I think the Roman, this regular straight up font typeface, looks pretty cool. I think you could do some really fun stuff with it. The one thing that kind of threw me for a loop, let's get down to the italics here, was the italic W and Y, because they are so so light compared to everything else. Let's just do it like this. Y. The H, doesn't the H feel super heavy there? If we, let me see, W, X, Y, Z. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me. You guys make your own call here. But the Y and the W seem very light compared to the rest for me. Maybe even the Z too, that crossbar there. But I don't know. You know, some people like these little quirks and things like that. So thought I'd put it on your radar. It is, looks like it's 176 bucks for the family. You could just choose weights by itself, but those are 47. So, yeah, SilverStag Type Foundry, new release. I'm not going to do an in-depth review on that one, but I wanted to put it on your radar. One more that I'm going to put on your radar, and this one's coming from Parachute. We might hopefully do a in-depth review of this one, but this one just released today, so I haven't had time to get a review copy of it. I did reach out to Parachute. This is the website right here. You can see it is variable. It is called PF Optik Variable, Optik with a K. This is also linked in the description. I am going to go ahead and show you the, it does have a free trial, but you're not going to get everything. And actually, when I was doing this, it was saying that the download was not available. So I'm not sure, maybe the free trial is not on there yet. They typically do have limited character free trials though, but to like really test out a variable font like this, you're going to want the full font to test it out. So I can't do like a full review without that. But you can see it's got optical sizes. I think it has 3 different axes on it. Let's go ahead and see if we can get this sorted out. Test drive. Let's see. Yeah, so you've got your weight on this one. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's going to work. Let's highlight everything, I guess. We've got our weight axis. Yeah, I'm not sure. The website's... I don't know if you have to highlight stuff. Okay, here's the weight. We've got the weight. We've got the width. It can get pretty wide, and it has an optical size on it. So that's really cool. We've been seeing quite a few optical size axes on new releases lately, and you can see what the optical size here is going to do. It's not only doing the spacing, it's actually also altering the counter size. So when you get the display, you can have a little bit more of a closed counter and a little bit more, you know, the aesthetic. But when you get down to the caption and text sizes for the optical axis, it opens up those counters. That's really cool to see. That alone tells you the thought that is going into this. The width is what I think is pretty crazy on this one, because you can see the typeface isn't getting any taller. It's just getting much, much wider. And here are all the different weights. I'm not sure that this necessarily is the best way to show this, but it does look kind of cool, you know, the Christmas tree aesthetic there. And then lastly, we get a little bit of an animation here to look at. Again, I did reach out to Parachute this afternoon to see if we can get a review license of this one. If we get that, I will do a deep dive into this, but for now, it is linked in the description if you want to go check it out yourself. I am going to do a deep dive on this next one here though, and it is coming from James Plattner. Let me pull this up on Future Fonts, grab a drink, and we will get started. I apologize. I missed a comment from Rogue Wave like 4 minutes ago. I'm having so much fun using Affinity typography settings. Love it. If okay, may I suggest this cool font, Adorna, found it in this great book serif in used book B. I will definitely look that up, Rogue Wave. Adorna. Let's just pull it up right now. We'll see what it looks like. We're between stories. We have time. Hopefully we have time. No, that's Adorn, not Adorna. Let's see. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to find it right now. Maybe I'll take time between episodes and look this one up. But I appreciate the suggestion. I will look it up off camera. This is James Plattner. There he is right there. The last typeface we looked at from him, I think, was Falutin. He had a cowboy font on here. But today we're going to be looking at this one right here. This one is called Motley. And per description right here, it says originally conceived as a revival of Stevenson Blake's Granby. We're going to look at that here in a second. Motley's roots lie in the tradition of early 20th century humanist sans serif typefaces. However, its voice is more a result of a departure from its predecessors. I'm going to show you some other revivals of this as well. Let me go ahead and click through these so we're not sitting looking at one screen. Designed for use in the modern world, Motley evokes history without being beholden to it. I think that's an apt description. I also like these very simple but very nice specimens here. These are the same ones that are going to be on future fonts. It's just future fonts are a little slow to load them sometimes, you see. So I typically pull them up on Instagram and then we'll go back to future fonts, look at all the details. And James did send me a review copy of this. I requested it and received it. So I can't use it for anything commercial or personal, but I can use it to review the typeface and show it to you all. Here are some alternates right here, A, G, and W. There's a few more that are in the typeface as well, and I will show you those. Okay, so let's go back to future fonts. And I'm just gonna give you the rundown of the price and stuff like that. Since we're here, you can see it's $50. Right now there are 3 weights for it. Let me see, 3 weights. There's regular, medium, and bold. It's a static typeface, just 99 characters, right, or 99 glyphs right now. But this will be expanded. You can see right here, he's already got a roadmap for it. What we've got right now, we've got regular, medium, bold, uppercase, lowercase, lining figures, common punctuation. So 99 symbols, a little more than the limited character set you get with most trials. What's coming next? More weights, more languages, and after that, even more weights and more languages. So it's nice when you see an actual roadmap on there. It means they're probably committed to developing this typeface. As with any future font, if you purchase this now for like the $50, you will get all of those updates for free. So it's always a great way to support independent type designers. And if you really like a typeface, you're kind of investing in it, and you know that you'll get those dividends paid out in time. I did reach out to James and I asked him why Granby, why the changes. So as we look at the comparisons here, I'm going to go ahead and give you that response. But let's go ahead and look at this up close real quick. Rogue Wave says they mispronounced it. It is Adorno. K8 is back. Hello again. Good to see you. Rogue Wave, I will definitely look that up off camera. And then I will get back to you next time you're in chat. I'll let you know what I thought. I spilled water on my glasses. You guys couldn't see it this time though. Okay, so this is Motley. Actually, probably could put my face on the camera. If it's in the way, you guys let me know. This is Motley right here. Let me go ahead and show you Granby, because I was not super familiar with this typeface. I've probably seen it 100 times. If you go on fonts in use, you can see many examples of Granby. But it was pretty popular in like the 70s. It has these distinctive diamond tittles on it, these diamond dots. It also had diamond punctuation and diamond, diamond periods, diamond question marks and things like that. So I asked James, like, why make that change? And he said that it made it feel dated. Let me go ahead and read this. I'm going to turn my face off so you guys don't have to watch me look at the other screen. Let me see which way I want to do this. Let me go ahead and give you both of these side by side while I read this to you. Then we're going to look at them. We'll look at them up close after that. So I asked him, what about Granby drew you to it? Why'd you make the changes? He replied, Granby was always a favorite that I spent years stumbling upon in record stores on old 70s albums in the dollar bins. It just has so much charm. It always stopped me in my tracks. That said, it always felt a bit dated for contemporary use for a few different reasons. One being the diamond tittles. We looked at those right there. Ding, ding. Which always felt a bit distracting to him. Another being the inconsistent mix of straight and jagged terminals. I didn't notice those, but if he says they're there, then I trust him. Yeah, you can see how the S here, maybe that's what he's talking about. Instead, don't get me wrong, I think details like these are actually a big part of Granby's unique charms, but not things I felt would be very viable for a modern interpretation. Yeah. So if you do want like a straight up revival, you can get those on my fonts. Let me go ahead and pull that up for you so you kind of see what's in the market. You can see both of these right here. There are two of them. There's one from Elsner and Flake, and there's one from Scanographics. Can we make this font a little bit bigger? And you will note the diamonds are on both of these, and these two look nearly identical. I'm sure they're both working from the same source material. You know, pick whichever one has what you need it to do. It looks like the prices are pretty similar. But if you want one that's going to feel like it fits in 2026, maybe Motley is the right move there. So I apologize. Man, I am just out of it today. Regular, medium, semi-bold are the three weights that are on here right now. That's a big semi-bold. And I will get to the comparison here in a second, and you can see how much bolder it is. But you can see it's a nice kind of like a mix between Futura and Gill Sans. That's kind of how it was positioned to compete when it was Granby, but now Motley kind of, I think, could fill that same role. I have some of these characters highlighted green because I want to go ahead and show you the alternate glyphs while we're going through. So you can see you can get the alternate M there that goes all the way down to the baseline. If we keep scrolling through these R's, you know, the R kind of looks like a lot of geometric sans serifs back then. It kind of looks like ITC Avant-Garde a little bit. We've got the W here. We've got with the pointed apex on it. Oops. And you can do the same thing as the M there. Just flatten out that apex. Let me get down to the lowercase. The A and G here, we'll just go ahead and hit both these once. Ooh, look how nice this C buds up against that D. I was not expecting that. That's really nice. So the A and the G here, we can get single stories on these. So if you like the more simple look, the single stories, I think those usually look better in logos. The single story, because then you've got this very cohesive look. I think in text, the two story looks a little bit nicer because it just breaks it up and it doesn't look all the same. But you can see he's got circle dots on the I and the J there, and on the punctuation as well. The T here, I don't have it highlighted, but this T here will actually change as well. He's labeled this one as less fun T. And by less fun, it goes back to the original, because the original had that short top on it, and it, you know, it was just a little bit more plain. It didn't have that sheared top on it. So his version does, the original doesn't, but if you want the less fun version, you can have that as well. This is the default W. This is the one with the apex flattened out. Let's look at these compared real quick. I'm just going to go through these super fast, but let me go ahead and pull this one over here. We'll make it Objectives green, and we will overlay this just on this first line here so you can get a pretty good idea. I think you'll notice right away what the differences are. Putting this at 50%, you can see already James's version, or James's evolution of Granby here. This is Motley in green, Granby in the background, all pixelated. You can see his version is quite a bit less wide. It's more narrow in some situations. In others, you know, we've got this lowercase a here. It's quite a bit bigger. So compared to Granby, Motley has a much taller X height. I do think that brings it into modern times. You know, X heights go up and down, but typically if we're thinking like of an older font, it's probably going to have a lower X height. It's just been popular for a long time now. And if we line this B up, you can see the top there is a little bit bigger than the original. Both are nice, but they do have that different charm. Like the B on Motley does feel much more modern compared to that really small top on there. So let me go ahead and put this back on the other side, and we'll kind of look at these in whole. But now that you get an idea of what's going on, they are very similar, but he has distinctly moved away from what Granby is. The last thing I'm going to show you here, because this isn't important, is look at the counter of the D. The top one there, the really dark one, is Motley by James Plattner. You can see the C is different as well. You know, the C is not straight. Maybe that's one of the terminal things he was talking about there, where his C, the terminals follow this, or the terminals on this C follow the stroke, so they kind of end in the same direction. Whereas the C and Granby is more like Futura, where it chops off straight. That was the thing that Futura did so that it could push German words together a little bit nicer. But the thing I wanted to point out here was the counter of the D. This goes through the whole alphabet, the B, the D, the P, the Q. James's version cuts into the stem. I think it cuts into the stem a little bit. Let's go ahead and see if we can get a grid going here. Pull out a ruler. Yeah, cuts into the stem just a tiny bit. I don't know if you'll be able to see that red line there, but that's a nice thing to do for just a little bit of optical, handling that optical illusion. If you want to have a nice circle in there, cut into the stem just a little bit. But you can see his has the full circles, whereas Granby chops off at the stem. So very distinct difference. And you can see even on the A here, he's moved quite a bit away from it, but it really does feel like an evolution. It's almost like the evolution of, like Avenir from Futura or Gotham from Avenir. Like it feels like one of those leaps where it's a similar typeface, but if you were using Granby and you wanted to come into 2026, maybe Motley would be the solution to doing that. So this is the medium weight. Motley's medium is actually equivalent to Granby's bold. So I thought that was interesting. It doesn't have all the characters. So you see I've got a couple of question marks here. It doesn't have the currency symbols yet. So I wouldn't use this as something you really needed to do a lot with at this point, but it is still pretty fun. And then the semi-bold here is comparable to the extra bold of Granby. So I can't wait to see just how bold he gets whenever he gets to these super bold these super bold weights. I'm going to pull up Internet Archive right now just so I can show you a few of these Granby specimens. So I don't know if I linked this in the description. I apologize. But if you look this up, it's on Internet Archive, 1959 specimens of print types from Stevenson Blake. We're on what is this? Page 99 in the book, but it looks like, yeah, page 99. There are a lot more weights and sizes, or not sizes, weights, and there's italics, and there are some really funky styles in here, because if we get all the way to the end of this, they've got one that's called Elephant here. So that Elephant will probably be equivalent to like his extra black version. I like the Elephant name though. More people should do fun names like that, Elephant. But you've got the shadow and the inline. So he doesn't have those on the roadmaps, but you never know. Maybe someday those will come out as well. But I would agree here. If we look at the dots on the eyes for the, I don't know if we can, see if we can scroll up on this. If we look at these dots on the I and the J here, when you get that inline, that does feel really distracting. But I like the shadows. The shadows are pretty cool. But yeah, this is an evolution. It's not a revival. And hopefully you can see the similarities and the differences. I think this is a really nice one. James always puts out nice typefaces. This one's available on Future Fonts. Like I said, $50 for the full family. Great license. You can use this on desktop, web, and app. I read through the license right here. It's very solid. Read through it for yourself, obviously. But compared to these Granby revivals, these are $35 per weight. You will eventually get the full font family for $50 with James Plattner's Evolution titled Motley. Let's continue on. I'm going to give you a preview real quick. Like I said, this is one of those ask for forgiveness, not permission situations. I think it'll be fine, but I was too excited about this not to show you. This actually, I got access to this beta version, I don't know, maybe a month ago. It's been a little while, but this is the next typeface coming out of Girly Type. It's called Mechanic. I'm just going to show you this super fast. Everything here is a beta, so it's all subject to change, I'm sure. But this is Mechanic. And it's a variable font, and it's got the weight. Really nice. I like I like this big, bold, geometric sans. They just, I don't know, it looks so powerful. It's a perfect poster font. But the cool thing about this, let me take the weight back down. The cool thing about this is there's an optical size that can turn this into a monospaced font. I have never seen this before. I've seen, you know, just the on off, like the optical size that just kind of like, as you get past the 50% mark, it turns into monospace, but I've never seen one that interpolates like this. That's just so crazy to me. And I don't think there's going to be, I don't think there's going to be many use cases where you're like, oh, I want it to be like right in the middle of, you know, right in the middle of this optical size where it's just barely got serifs and it's barely monospace. But as we've discussed, you know, the last few months, motion fonts and variable fonts that are designed to have these motions and stuff are very much on trend, and they're very much a part of typography now. People are designing fonts with motion already in mind, these variable fonts. And I think this could be one of those cases. I have no idea what the use case is here, but it's just fun to see people doing stuff like this. And when the full typeface releases, I will definitely do a full review of Mechanic from Grilly Type. But for now, tiny little preview. Hopefully we don't get in trouble for it, but I just thought it was too cool to pass up. Just a few fun things here, and then we're gonna do a mail time. I always liked mail time when Casey Neistat used to do it in the blog, so we're gonna do one here. Another video I wanted to point out, whenever you're done watching this one, go check out Harbor Bickmore. He's been putting out some really great content. He did a classifications video. There he is right there. I'm gonna go ahead and skip ahead. He actually designed some of these he designed all of the typefaces that he talks about in this video. And he goes through serifs and sans serifs in very basic terms. But I'm sure that most of you are probably familiar with classifications. You know, they're very murky. You know that they, I don't know, they're not, there's not a lot of use for them other than informing yourself on like what they should look like and what you'd be familiar and how to, you know, to talk to other type nerds and like say the right words, right? But he makes some good points about why it is useful. And just in general, I think anytime there's a new way for you to experience type classifications, and more specifically type anatomy, because type anatomy really is the anatomy of type, like all of the little things that he's got labeled on there right now, that's really what determines what classification the font is going to get. Let's go ahead and skip ahead. We'll see some sans serifs. Oh, it's up to modern there. Here's some sans serifs here. For me, the first time this really stuck, I had type design classes. I've read a bunch of typography books, or not type design, I apologize, typography classes when I was in design school. But that book back there, The Anatomy of Type by, I apologize, by Stephen Coles. Sorry, Stephen. The Anatomy of Type by Stephen Coles was the first time that like the anatomy of fonts, of typography really stuck for me. And it was because the repetitions. You go through 100 different fonts. He's pointing out all these little things. And it was the first time that it really, really stuck for me, because in a typical typography book, got a bunch of them here. I'm not going to pull them up. Don't worry. In a typical typography book, you'll have one spread with anatomy on it. It'll point out a bunch of different things, and then you kind of move on. And then maybe there'll be 5 or 6, maybe 10 if you're lucky, history ones that kind of give you classifications. But that book back there, I have a full, like, I don't know, it's probably over an hour long flip through book review on the channel. Go check that out. Not linked, but go check it out. That was the first time that like the anatomy really stuck for me. And so that's why I'm saying like the repetitions are what really make it sink in. So this is a great video for like a refresher for me, just to keep these things still in mind. And classifications are also something that's very, very subjective. There's no perfect classification system, but the anatomy is pretty objective. The anatomy is what it is. If something's got a serif, it's got a serif. If something's got like a calligraphic terminal on it, that's what it's got. If it's got a teardrop or a ball terminal, that's what it's got. So I think the anatomy is really the thing to pay attention most to. But if you want to do any type design or anything like that, you want to know the classification so you can kind of know what parts fit together well. Because you wouldn't want to take parts from one classification and another that aren't going to fit well together. But maybe you'll find something new if you do pull that off. But I think learn the rules, then break the rules. Let me check chat. Okay, we're doing good. So another great video from Harbor Bickmore. He's been killing it lately. We talked about him when he was talking about how much he earned from fonts last year, but he's put out 3 more typefaces since then. I apologize, 3 more videos since then. I think he's putting out really good content, and he's been putting out consistently for the last month. I don't know how long that'll last, but in the meantime, I think that the value for the time is excellent. Let me see. We'll just do one more fun thing, then we'll do mail time. This one is super, I don't know. It's such a small story, but I've never seen this where it's a vertical variable font. And I don't know how this works. You can download the fonts on here for free. You can download the variable, and you can download the tall and short version. You can see on screen, make sure I'm not covering it up. You can see on screen the interpolation. I'm gonna get a drink of water. So like in your brain, this is easy to understand. If you've ever used any animation software or any keyframes in like, in anything, you can understand what's happening here between one and the other. But doing this in typography, like in as a variable font, like as I'm scrolling, this font is going up and down. I'm assuming that's just some CSS going on there. But you can't really do that in your font software, right? Because if you pull this up in Affinity, let's get this one off the screen. Let's get this one off the screen. So we pull up Motley right here, and we tried to make it taller. How would you do that inside of the M square? You know, so I'm not sure if this is only going to work online for now. I'm not sure. I have no idea how this works, but it's the first time I've seen it, so I wanted to bring it to your attention. It's pretty freaking cool. This is from FontBob. Let me see who posted this. Carl, let me see. I apologize. This is where I originally saw it. Carl Unlin posted this onto typo.social. It's a Mastodon server. If you like typography, go get on typo.social. A lot of type nerds on there, like myself, and probably like you if you're watching this. Okay, let's do mail time. I didn't plan for this at all. These two envelopes showed up today. Let me get the face cam on. These 2 packages showed up today. Like I said, I don't know what's in them. I did go ahead and put tape over my address on them. This one came first, so I'm going to open it first. It's got the king on there. And so it's also got a Manchester stamp. So I'm pretty sure this one's coming from the UK. Let me go ahead and see. I do have some other specimens that I'm planning to do like flip through reviews. Mostar Type Foundry sent me some really cool ones. I guess I could, sorry, I should have like a, let's look at these at the same time. These are from Applied Systems. Okay, so Alistair sent me these from Applied Systems. They look like specimens. Let me do one at a time here. This one says, questions, gathering, listening. It looks like, how could I do this? It looks like it's some essays, maybe. It's different, looks like different designers that are writing different stuff on here. Questions, gathering, and listening. So I will check this out and I will let you know what it is. The second one here says culture fonts. So Applied Systems, if I remember correctly, yeah, it says Design Studio, and then they have like a Foundry arm. So we've seen that quite a bit. This one is more of a traditional specimen. This is pretty cool. I like to look at these specimens in print. I don't have a lot of them because, like I said, I'm living in Brazil right now and it's difficult to get stuff here. But this was sent to me by Alistair, by Applied Systems Design Studio. Thank you, Alistair. I will look through these and I'll report back to you guys. Very cool. The next one here from Geneva, you could see a little Geneva on the back there. Let's see. Oop. Got a couple little cards. 3 little cards. A few little cards. Footnotes. Oh, okay, so I think this is the description for what this is. Footnotes. This one is from Matthew. I talked to Matthew. I think he is the publisher of Footnotes. There are all kinds of little things and bookmarks and stuff falling out of this right now. Let's see what this description says. It says, Footnotes is a type design periodical published biennially. I'm guessing that's twice a year, by La Police in Switzerland. The opening issue was released in 2016. Okay. And then it talks about like the color and stuff that was chosen for this. Oh, this is really cool. So this is like an actual publication. I do have another one. I have a sign design one. Hold on, I'm gonna look at this. That I'm gonna show you guys. I do have a sign painting one as well. But yeah, you can see like it's a full publication. So I think we could probably do like a flip through review of this one once I've had time to look at it. Yeah, just a little mail time at the end here. There's some cool stuff in here. I don't know what it is yet, but it looks mildly interesting, maybe very interesting. But it looks like everything is printed in black, white, and orange, and it did look like they had a specific reason to do that. But I will get to that if we do a flip through review of this once I have fully read it. It is 8 o'clock, so that means it is time to get out of here. Thank you for everyone that came along. I think we lost a few people during the mail time, but that's okay. Rogue Wave, I appreciate you being here again. K8, good to see you again as well. And anybody that's watching this in the future, thank you for making it to the end. I'm Curtis Simpson. This was Jectives Typography News number 38. I will be back Friday for Jectives Typography News number 39. Hopefully this will get a little more organized and a little more polished like the Sunday show did. If you've been here from the beginning, you know that this was not perfect from the beginning, and it probably never will be, but it did get a lot better from, episode like 1 to 36. So now that we're on this new schedule, it's going to be a little shaky for a few episodes, but we'll get there. Thank you. Peace be well. You're welcome. Peace be well. All right. I'll see you guys Friday. Bye.